The wheel spinning. Says we're live. All right. Well, secondhand toy dealer here. And okay, so the live has begun. It says we got 0 people watching right this second, but we'll give it a few seconds. Well, there's 5. All right. So, all right, first live. Oh, apparently we're having trouble. I think you're muted there. I see a mute over your. So go down and click your. There, I think. Oh, can I hear you now?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. So our YouTube feed's just a little bit behind what we see in the secondhand or in the StreamYard.
Okay.
So I'm going to mute my TV.
All right. So this is our first live stream, and we're gonna talk some collectibles, toys, and finding stuff on store shelves and the excitement of displaying and all that. I am in my garage right now. In one of the last videos I did, I showed everything all boxed up, and then I showed some stuff on a table that it's just a lot of stuff is just too big to have in a box. And so rather than seeing a big wall of white boxes all packed up, I built this wall of collectibles. Used up a lot of my big stuff to build a background for myself. But I put together, I was in the process of shooting a video on this Millennium Falcon here that Revell snap tight, and I tell you what, I really regret not having bought more of these at Ollie's. I mean, it's really, it's an ideal size. I mean, I think that as a kid, I had that Micro Machines one that was little, and I used to pretend I was battling a Star Destroyer and fly it up against the parents' car. And I mean, like the stones were asteroid fields and all that, but it was always small, smaller than what my hands wanted to play with, or would fill my hands, like I would think. And this isn't as big as some of those ones that you put the figures in the cockpit. And this, to me, would have been an ideal size to play with. And the detail is really good. I mean, there was no stickers, nothing to paint, nothing to glue. I mean,
that was the snap kit?
That's the snap tight kit. Wow. The radar is a little loosey-goosey, easy to spin here. And I thought maybe I would glue that in place. And the landing gear, hit the button there. The landing gear can kind of push up into place so that it can be in the flight configuration, which I like. There's not a big footprint there. I mean, usually you see the landing gear sticking past a little bit, and it's got that easy cutaway to get your fingertips into to pull it down. And it's got the button you press here. Got the lights and sound. So I liked this one. And generally, I don't really care for the solo version. I get my.
That doesn't even look right.
It's kind of backwards here. When I move left, it actually moves right for me in the screen. But I mean, like, yeah. But this one here, I had one that had like a Nerf tip on it that you would push the button, and then this part would shoot out. And that one, the shape was just wrong. I mean, it narrowed down too much. And this one here, when you take the escape pod out and
I still don't like
compare the two, they are actually, I mean, like, they're the same thing. I mean, it's just So I mean, like I appreciate that the two are actually the same shape, and I mean, like, it does kind of throw you when you put that escape pod in there, and it just looks so different. Like
Yeah.
that's not even the same shape there, but it has a different set of sound effects, which I'm surprised. I mean, it's the exact same piece with speaker and button that installs into this Millennium Falcon, the same size and everything, and they could have just gone ahead and said, "Oh, we're going to put the same thing in this one and the other one," but they actually changed up the sound effects. So that was really cool, especially for $10. I mean, to have something to display like on your desk at work or whatever. I mean, it doesn't take up a bunch of space, but it's not as small as some of those like Hot Wheels ones that are a little undersized. And those Hot Wheels ones, I was going to bring one of them out here, but their shape isn't quite correct. The cockpit area is like elongated, longer and smaller. So it doesn't look quite right to me. I do like the paint application on the back of the engine for the Hot Wheels, but
Yeah.
I really like the way that those came out. I wish I would have bought more for $10, but they're bringing in all these to D-Town, so that's only 20 minutes drive from us. And
I wonder, so is the X-Wing to scale? Like, are the ships to scale at all? Do they have an X-Wing snap kit?
They do, but it's not to scale with this.
No.
They have one, but I'd say that it's still like this big. And I actually passed on it because it was, I thought at the time that it was fixed in the flight mode instead of the lock-ass foils and attack position. So, I mean, I thought, if I'm going to have an X-Wing, I would want it to be in the attack position, so that it can be hung or played with or whatever. And
yeah, now that was the X-Wing was the only 3/4 inch scaled toy that I had ship wise for Star Wars, and I did not get anything Star Wars related as far as ships go until the original trilogy was re-released there in the 90s. And so I finally got the X-Wing. So I guess, I mean, I don't know what number release that would have been, or I can't remember what year exactly, but I remember it was, I think I got it for Christmas, and it was a big deal. And I remember that it had a little gray button on the bottom that would make the different sounds. And I don't think I had a huge variety of sounds, but it made a couple different firing sounds from the button. And then when you pressed in on the R2-D2, it went into attack position or attack mode, the X mode, and it would spread the wings. And then it made a noise when you did that. It made the noise from the movie. Now, the only thing I remember not liking about that is it did that classic peg system for attaching the blasters. So those would often fall off. And of course, they were a softer plastic because they did
which is smart because inevitably it's going to get hit on something and you don't want it to just shatter instead of bend a little bit.
But it did eventually, I mean, I guess you could have fixed it, but I did eventually hold a bending shape. So I had a limp blaster on my X-Wing. But I guess, I mean, with that.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, with that kind of stuff, if I remember correctly, those older toys, you could always just kind of warm them up in hot water and then reshape them and then let them.
I recall a buddy of mine taking the Micro Machines X-Wing, heating it with a hairdryer, and then pressing them back together, the wings, the X-Wings, and using it in the flight mode. And then he would heat it back up and put it back into the lock-ass foils in attack position. All right, so we got a couple people who have declared their presence. We've got Toaster Crumb says hi. We got Motez
Riyadh.
Riyadh. So if you're watching, say hi. We'll say hey back. So last night I was in a I was typing as I was watching a live stream, and we were talking about micro machines and the micro machines that we had as kids, the older ones, not the recently released ones.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have many of those?
Yeah. So what would end up happening with my parents or with my mom, because she did the Christmas shopping, and she would go out, and typically every year there was kind of a theme. So the year that I got micro machine, I never had any micro machines until I think maybe 95, 96. And then I just got a ton of them all in one Christmas. I think they were on sale. That seems kind of like when they were kind of maybe fading out. But I got just pack after pack after pack of military micro machines. I didn't get any of the regular cars or whatever, fire trucks. It was all military stuff. And it was awesome. It was awesome. I had a big green, one of those like popcorn tins. Yeah. I filled one of those up. My mom gave me one of those to use for storage. So I had a big old popcorn tin full of micro machines. And the thing I remember being most impressed about with them is some of them had points of articulation. I remember I had
like a trunk that opened or doors that opened?
There was a anti-aircraft trailer that you could actually lift. You could actually lift the missile launchers up.
Yeah.
And the tanks, a couple of the tanks, you could move their cannon. It was just a little bit, but they would stay. So if I lifted it, the cannon would stay in that position.
Right.
And so I loved it.
Do you still have any of them?
I don't even know what I did with them, honestly.
Yeah.
I might have given them to a family member.
We were talking about Lamborghinis. Did you ever have any of the Micro Machines Lamborghinis?
Nope. Just the military vehicles.
This one here, I had. Here we go. I had that. Or I wanted that as a kid.
Yeah.
I like that, neon yellowish green with the pink windshield. And this one here I found on eBay, and there was a story behind this one. When I was in, I want to say the second grade. I don't think it was third. I think it was second grade. They were having a book report race. So the teacher set up the teacher set up a board, like a Monopoly board on the bulletin board. And she would put little push pins in the board and then set the car on the board. And as you would read books and make reports, the better you scored, the more spaces you could move. Yeah. And if you could cross the finish line in the allotted amount of time, you got to keep your micro machine. And I was not a big reader, wasn't my strength. And I think you know this, but here in the last couple of years, we've actually found out that my son is dyslexic and it's hereditary. So I am probably the one that gave it to him. And that's part of the reason that I struggled with it so much. And the teacher, I asked her, I said, is there something else I can do? Some kind of extra credit. I know I'm not going to be able to get this done. And rather than encourage me and tell me, I think you can read the books and fill out the reports, get across the finish line and get this one, she told me, actually, my son really wanted that car. And I told him that the students got to have their fair run around the track, and if they didn't get it, then my son could have it. And he wanted this one, and I knew you wouldn't pass the finish line, so I gave you this one so that he could have it. And I was like, wow. I mean, all the encouragement of
Jeez.
the 1990s from a teacher that I mean clearly thought that I could succeed in life.
Well, maybe that was her or your teacher's way of motivating you, because then out of spite, maybe you crossed the finish line.
My spirit. I just at that point knew I couldn't.
You should have walked right up to that micro machine and crushed it under your foot.
But anyway, so I purchased this one on eBay, and I don't think that I spent more than like $15 on it, which for one car is kind of a lot. But then I had this one, and I don't know if you can see, but it's kind of dirty. It doesn't look super clean, and I mean there's a little bit of paint worn off of it. And then I found one that was in a lot better condition, and I was considering buying that one, but they wanted like $25 for that one. And then I dropped this one, and I broke the spoiler on the back, and I glued it back on, but you can tell that it's not quite straight. And so I ordered the other one. And somewhere in the boxes around here is the Immaculate one. I was looking for it and I couldn't find it, but I found one on eBay that was like this: the pink windshields with the lime green paint job, and they wanted $40 for one with the spoiler broken off of it. So that really surprised me that people are asking. I mean, I could see if it was in immaculate condition, maybe fetching that kind of price. But the guys, one of the guys in the live stream last night he's like, "Oh, I've got that one right here." He said, "And this one here sold for $100 on eBay when it was in good condition." I was like, "Wow, I mean, maybe I should find that one and make sure it doesn't get crushed in the move and whatnot." But anyway, one of the other things that I recently acquired, this isn't recent, this is something I've had for a while, but the sealed copy of Independence Day on VHS, and it's the one with the magic motion where the Capitol or the White House is blowing up. And so I thought, that's cool. It's going to go in the display, in my toy display, stuff from nostalgic movies from the past and being sealed. I mean, like, I thought that's awesome. Pretty cool. Yeah. And so I started looking around and I got a great deal on the thing. I think I got it for less than $5 shipped. And then I started looking for other titles. And so I got Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. And this was kind of like a forbidden fruit kind of video for me. I remember when I was a little kid, I wasn't supposed to watch it, but on Saturday mornings when parents were scarce, I remember watching this video. And so that's a sealed copy of that one. And then I just picked up this one here, which is Back to the Future. And why we were allowed to watch this, but not Last Crusade, I don't know. But so, yeah, I mean, like, do you think that could be like one of the next fads where people were apparently it's not a thing just yet, because you can go and pick these up super cheap. I mean, they're not expensive. I mean, I would think, this is like mid 1980s and it's still in the package. How does this exist still in the package? I don't who bought this and threw it on a shelf and didn't watch it. Yeah. But I mean, like, I wonder if it will ever become a thing that's going to be collected and the prices will go up higher and people will start grading them. And
I don't think as long as you can buy the movie on a better format, because I think vinyl has its value as far as music goes, because it arguably sounds better. If at the very least it sounds different, but it does sound a little better to some people. And then you have that physical, that putting the record on the record player, needing to turn it, starting the needle. So there's a lot of perks to vinyl as a format, but VHS is that's like audio cassette. That's like audio cassette tapes. Like they tried to make that a thing, but there is absolutely no benefit to an audio cassette tape. Yeah.
Sealed in the package.
Oh, man.
Both of the releases of Apollo 13.
Nope. That's a great soundtrack. I mean, you want some
it music? It sounds very similar to the Titanic soundtrack the more I listen to it, which came way before Titanic soundtrack. But one thing I will say, to kind of counter that, is the like you can get an emulator and play all of these old retro video games, but they're still like, I mean, getting to a point where they're expensive to collect.
Yeah.
Like I just purchased a copy of Perfect Dark, and this one's actually in pretty decent shape. It presents better because of it being in this plastic case here.
Yeah.
The corners aren't absolutely crisp. I think it's all there and accounted for. But I mean, like, I remember looking at this 2 years ago, and it was only like $40, $30 for one that was sealed. And now, I mean, like, I just watched one that wasn't sealed. It was like it did look impressive. I mean, it was really nice. And and
Thanks for featuring my comment.
yeah. I was trying to dismiss the first one, and I showed yours.
Well, it's important. I want everyone to know that she watched that movie for the first time.
And was it recent?
Yeah, just a couple months ago. She had never, she hadn't seen any of them, and she really liked it. She really liked it. But anyways, go ahead.
But this game here, not sealed, it went for almost $200. I mean, the all the cardboard was really crisp lines, crisp corners.
Yeah. I don't know why. I don't know why, because but like Super Nintendo games hold their value pretty well, because if you've got, I mean, they look good because of that 16-bit, 24-bit format.
Yeah,
but 64 games do not hold up.
Right, but with the with emulators, it's not a matter of, well, I need to get that game so I can play it on my old console. You can play it on an emulator a lot better even than what you can on some of these that just don't hold up as well. But they're still, the prices are getting driven up. In the this one here, I paid $41 for it shipped. Which there was one I was watching for a while that I just couldn't bring myself to spend $109 for it on eBay. It was exactly what I wanted. It was still sealed in the package, and it had a Toys R Us sticker on it on the front. And I thought that would be something cool to get graded. I mean, like, to me, if I'm putting something in my collection and it has a Toys R Us sticker somewhere on it, that just ups the ante for me. I love seeing that Toys R Us stickers on the collectibles that are hanging on the wall. I don't think I have many on them right now.
No.
But talking about video games, I know you've seen this, but I'm hoping that somebody who's watching tonight can tell me. This one here, you mean like this one? It's cardboard. So it's a cardboard box. And this one here is like a plastic clamshell kind of deal. And that's what I was wondering. Is it an aftermarket ordeal, or is this a video rental? And if it's a video rental, I mean, like, would you say that it commands a higher price as something that is less common to find, or none of it's really worth all that much anyway? So, I mean, like, to me, I feel like this holds up and displays nicer than a cardboard box with a plastic container around it. But
yeah,
curious to see if anybody knows if that's a rental or is it an aftermarket case. That I wouldn't think it's an aftermarket case, because then how would you get the insert in here like this? It doesn't look like it was a cardboard piece that someone cut up to fit in here. So I'm thinking that that's the way it came. Yeah, I'm wondering if it is the. But
so if you bought Perfect Dark, came out, what was that, 96?
90s. I'm not sure for sure when.
If you paid $60 for that in 1996, and that is $101 in today's money, according to saving.org. So if you spend more than $100 on that game today, you are paying more in value than what you paid originally to play it.
When you account for inflation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, that's according to saving.org, not a sponsor. I have a pretty decent Super Nintendo collection. That's one thing that every once in a while I will pick up another couple games. I have not in a couple years, but without going and counting, I would guess my collection's closing in on 40 games. But not the ones like I don't care about the Zelda game. What I collect are the games that I played. So I don't care about the ones that like Chrono Trigger or whatever. There's games that are $100, $200 if you can find them. Just plain find them. I don't care about the Zelda. I care about the ones that I played. So I've got like Turtles in Time, Star Fox, Street Fighter. I have a couple copies of the games that I really like, just in case. I go through them all, I clean them, and I keep the.
If you saw games at a garage sale, would you be particular about like if they were like $1 a title? And I mean, like they're not in beat up condition; they're in decent. They're not mint or immaculate, but I mean, like, do you think that you'd still be particular about? Well, this title didn't mean much to me, so I'm going to pass. Or would you be like, no, that's cool to add to the collection, grow the volume at that price point?
Only if if I consider it a good game. I don't have any games that I don't enjoy playing. And there's some in there that are considered stinkers by critics, like Bubsy. Bubsy's not a good game by any means, but I rented that thing a lot because I liked it. It was basically Sonic for Super Nintendo. I mean, it wasn't as good. But then again, I think nowadays people don't think the original Sonic games are all that great. So
yeah.
I'm not big into the video game world and what the popular opinion is, but I think Sonic was not a great game.
So, talking about Toys R Us, you and I both have worked at Toys R Us previously.
Yeah.
So, I was thinking we could swap Toys R Us epic stories. What I worked there in tail end of 2009 or 2007. So that was right about the time that the first Transformers live action movie was coming out. In about that era. So it was a while ago. It's been closed for a while, but what years did you work there?
I worked there for a couple months in 2004, like a summer job. And then I worked there maybe 2006. I worked there again for about a month, just as like a part-time thing. But so it was I remember what was the big line out at the time. I was really following the Masters of the Universe re-release, or not re-release, but the new series, the 2002 series, I think is what was out at the time still. By then, was that still out? Yeah. So that would have been 2004. Let me look real quick. Well, anyways, that was the big line that I was following and collecting. And
I remember, if memory serves, I think Wii was a really happening thing at that point. And I remember Black Friday, the Black Friday sale, they had the Microsoft Zune on a ridiculously low price. And
yeah,
man, that's something I think is kind of fun. If you grab one of those new in the package, throw it in your collection. I think that's kind of fun, but
yeah,
I don't know that
I had these friends
a lot of bang for your buck.
Zune. I had an iPod Classic, I think, or whatever. I went with Apple. I had two friends that went Zune, and they were so cocky about it. They were like, the Zune is way better than the Apple, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, everybody likes Apple just because it's Apple. And I was like, yeah, you're right. All these people are buying a product that's inferior because there's an Apple on it. No. But I'm glad, they were right. The Zune has come a long way. There's been a lot of different iterations, and everybody's got one. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy how popular they have become.
Yeah.
But
So,
when I worked there, yeah, it was still the master. It was that new, the 2002 Masters of the Universe was what I was really following. By then, Transformers, by 2004, Transformers had kind of went to, it was like Transformers Armada, Transformers Cybertron, that very anime kind of kiddish style, and the toys had went downhill. In my opinion, I mean, they changed a lot, because from my Beast Wars in the 90s was, between me and my buddy, we had almost every single Beast War Transformer that they came out with. So to me, that line was the pinnacle, and everything after that just got worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
But so I worked there, and I loved working there. The second time, and so the first time I worked there, honestly, that was kind of like a big bucket list item. I really, really wanted to work at Toys R Us. And my brother had a friend who worked there in high school and then became a manager. So he was 10 years older than me. I remember him working there in high school and just being like, that is so awesome. He's got the coolest job ever. And then he ran this and he became one of the managers. He wasn't the head guy. That guy, I'm pretty sure, retired from there. And he was still there in 2004 when I worked there. He was the store manager. And I think he was one of the secondary managers when my brother was in high school. But he was big on the add-ons. Like, he was big on, we had quotas we had to meet for birthday clubs, for service. Oh, what's that called? The warranties. You know, we had to tell you about the warranty, and then like add-ons. He wanted us to push those add-ons, but there was a quota for getting birthday card or birthday club signups. Now, how many? If you're working in the boys department, boys, girls, and wheels, that was the other thing. It was like I was the only one working, and I had boys, girls, and wheels. That's a half the store.
Right. Well, and the busy part of the store, I would think. I mean,
well, yeah. Well, then how many parents with a 8 or 9 year old hasn't already signed up for that birthday club?
Right.
So the old guy over in Babies R Us is coming up with like 15 birthday clubs by the end of his shift, and it's like, well, no kidding, because these are all new customers.
Right.
So I didn't even bother with it. And he would hound me. Gotta get those birthday clubs. Because
I don't recall ever trying to.
Well, the second time I got hired in there, there was absolutely no pressure tactics like that. But I worked in the evenings. When I worked there first, I was in college, so I would work during the day because I would have like classes in the evening or whatever. It worked around my schedule. And the daytime is serious business. That's when the general manager was there. But in the evening, the second time I worked there and all I did was work evenings, it was super chill. It was awesome. That was the dream job. And I rode around the store on a Razor scooter and helped customers, and everybody was so happy. I never had to ask about birthday clubs or extended warranties. But I worked there during the day. I had to keep one of those stupid pamphlets like in my pocket, and I had to show them. Be like, oh, you qualify for this extended warranty if you want to pay more for something you don't need.
I was working the holiday season. So, I mean, like, I think that they basically understood that they wanted me to move on from each customer to the next and not kind of like spend extra time when I didn't have extra time. There'd usually be like, someone would ask me, hey, do you have this in the back? And a lot of the employees would just, it ain't out here. We don't have it in the back. And I would check. I mean, because I knew there was a possibility that we would have it in the back, and at least our store. And I would go from wherever I said, just hang out here. Let me go check the computer, see what our inventory is. If I can find it, I'll bring it back. I'll bring it back here or in this area. And I would make my way to the computer, and I'd have 4 or 5 people stop me, and I'm already helping somebody. I gotta check an inventory on a computer, and I'll get back to you. I said, or just try and find somebody, or if you haven't been helped and you see me, maybe flag me down again. And I would eventually, I got to the point where I would duck out the side and walk through the warehouse or the back section where they would keep all the boxes of stuff that hadn't been brought out for sale on the shelves.
Mm-hmm.
And I would walk back there, even if it took me longer to get from point A to point B. I would our shelving would go around the store, kind of like a U, and I would literally find the closest way into the back to make it all the way over by the computer. That way, I didn't have to tell people, "I'm sorry, I'm already helping somebody."
Yeah,
and because I felt like it kind of put a bad taste in people's mouth, like, are you serious, or are you just kind of not wanting to do your job?
Yeah.
But talking about collectors and that, did you have much interaction with toy hunters and collectors when you were working there? Did they talk about them much as far as like your management?
No, I never personally. At that time, man, I don't recall seeing. I mean, I always saw. Okay, well, first let's answer. We got Toaster comes asking us if it was one of our top 3 favorite jobs. You want to answer that first?
I would say at this particular moment, if I could do it part-time and I had the time, I probably would, because I enjoyed it. And you can see all the stuff around me here. That's kind of my jam. I like remembering the nostalgia of childhood, and what 7-year-old wouldn't dream of being like, I'm working a toy store when I grow up. So right. I mean, like, I liked it. It didn't pay bills. I mean, it wasn't something that was ever gonna get me financially very far ahead. And there was a lot of, you're dealing with people that why don't you have this in stock, and getting mad about prices and stuff. So I mean, like, you had your ups and downs, but if it still existed and it would pay what I pay and I could do the hours that I'm doing, I'd change in a heartbeat. I love doing it.
Yeah. If I could capture the experience of my second time working there, then yeah, it was definitely one of my top 3s, and I would do it part-time for sure. It was just a lot of fun. And the people who worked there in the evenings, like I said, was just way more laid back, and I was allowed to scoot around on one of those scooters and help customers, and the kids thought it was awesome when I would fly by, and I don't know. I like that. But I think I'd want to
probably wouldn't fly these days with all the liability stuff going on. And
yeah. And I would want to do it more in like, this is my store kind of capacity. So
yeah.
But
I mean, honestly, I think that if somehow I went and picked up a winning lottery ticket and they're like, okay, you got $500 million, your payout is $200 million or whatever it is after tax. What do you want to do? I think, honestly, one of my things I would want to do would be to open a toy store and try and fill some of that void that Toys R Us left behind. I mean, I think the closest that you could do right now would be try and work at GameStop. But, video games, especially modern video games, really isn't my forte. Somebody could ask me about a game that's coming out or is out or was out a year ago, and I wouldn't have much information for them. I could look stuff up, and I'm sure I'd be capable of that. But I mean, telling somebody, is this title appropriate for this age group? No idea.
Right.
And I'm guessing that would be pretty critical to work at GameStop. So.
Right. Well, I personally don't like going into GameStop, because every time I do, they're on me. Like, what can I help you find? What are you looking for? And they try. I know the tactics. I know that they ask those open-ended questions that I can't just say no to. It's like, what can I help you find today? And I'm like, I'm just browsing. Oh, well, what are you interested in?
Or what kind of system do you play on?
Yeah, I don't. Actually, I'm not. I'm here to make fun of you. I don't know. It's just like, back off, man. Because that, to me, and that's one thing I hated about Toys R Us is we had to acknowledge the customers. Well, if they've walked by 3 employees by the time they get to me, I'm the 4th person asking them if I can help them find anything today. And I had people snip at me because they don't want to be bothered. In general, people don't want to be bothered. And you're not going to, like, they find you if they need help. I don't want, like, and why was the policy different for Toys R Us than it is? You don't go to a Walmart and have a Walmart employee ever ask you if you need anything.
And I remember they were really specific about, they would say, they wanted you to say, what can I help you find today? Yeah. And I would say, to me, I kind of feel like that's presumptuous. I mean, like, that me as a customer coming in, you're presuming that I am there to find something specific and that you can help me do it. Yeah. I mean, and most of the time, whenever I go into a store, I mean, like, I don't shop like some people do. I just go there. I want to see what's there and see if it's something I want. I mean, the chances of me being like, okay, I want to go in and find this toy. I feel like there's slim to, I mean, I could go to 15 stores right now and look for a Deadpool action figure, and I probably won't find it because they're not making them right now. Yeah. But anyway, I would always argue and say, is there any flexibility on this? Because I don't want to walk around and ask people, what can I help you find? He said, what do you want to say? I said, is there anything that I can help you find today? And if there's not, all right, let me know if you have any questions and move on. And to me, I feel like that puts a good experience on the customer. And they're like, he's there if I need him, but he's not pushing me to, I mean, like, hold my hand and make sure I'm not robbing the store blind or something. I don't know. I mean, yeah. I mean, or pushing to make sure I buy something and make some kind of sale. But so having the experience of work there, do you have any take on, like, why they ultimately could not keep going? Do you feel like it was inevitable? A toy store couldn't have made it? Or do you think that it was something that they did that...
Yeah, they completely missed the online bandwagon. Yeah. They were too little too late. At one point, I believe they partnered with Amazon. I believe there was an Amazon.com/Toys R Us, but it was too little too late. And then the pricing was ridiculous.
And I remember them being like, oh, it's a huge deal. We got 15% off of action figures. And I was like, so now we're the exact same price as Walmart. Right. Or maybe even at some points, just a little more. I thought really the only reason you would go to Toys R Us is if you needed something that was a Toys R Us exclusive, or you were looking for a bigger inventory. Like, let's say that you went to Walmart and they had 15 Marvel characters on a peg. Toys R Us might have 30. Right. And if you're trying to find a specific character out of 15 that are in the current inventory, or a specific character out of 30, I mean, maybe you're willing to pay a little more to have that bigger variety, upping your chances of finding what you need, or what you're looking for, hunting for, or whatever.
Yeah.
But
they missed the boat on that too. They should have had, and they did have some Toys R Us exclusive deals, but not enough. But I remember specifically with Beast Wars, I know that, man, it's been a while, and I know that I'm pretty sure there was a KB Toys exclusive, and I'm pretty sure there were some Toys R Us only exclusives too. And they should have went for as much exclusivity as possible, and they should have had an online platform ready to go. Honestly, I think if any brick and mortar store wants to survive the future, they need to partner with Amazon in some way. So they basically become a distribution center or a pickup center, order on Amazon, pick up at the store kind of thing, or set up an infrastructure on their own like that. And there just wasn't, Toys R Us just didn't have it. It's like It's the same. I mean, the same thing like Blockbuster. Blockbuster
Yeah.
should have done what Redbox did, or set up an online survey. Like, no, they just didn't have the foresight to kind of see what was coming down the pipe.
Do you think that there will ever be a Toys R Us comeback, or do you think if there was going to, it would have happened already?
I don't think it's possible. I don't think it's possible because you got Amazon. I mean, if you want a toy bad enough.
Yeah.
Plus, let's look. I mean, where are companies going? They're going with the stupid subscription services like Hasbro Pulse.
Yeah.
So they're cutting out the middleman.
I'm aware of it. I just have no idea what it even.
Oh, well, if you want a toy,
like.
you need to you have to pay monthly for access to buy the toy. So you're going to have a membership fee, and then you're buying the toy. So,
yeah.
But so they're cutting the middleman out completely.
Yeah. So did you have any good war stories from Toys R Us, interactions with customers that were exceptionally good or exceptionally odd or bad?
I mean, okay, so I had one guy that I was like his third or fourth person to ask how I could help him. And he did all but yell at me. And I was just like, well, just doing my job, and walked away, you know. And it could be kind of because of the city that I worked in, but that guy wasn't pleasant. And then I had these people come in. Oh, I hated it when, I had these people come in wanting to buy a certain play set. And they had called and they said they could get the display model. So, of course, I had to be the one to take it down. So I had to do I had to figure out how to take the display model down. And I don't know. I forgot about this. But they were already pretty like, I think they were already kind of upset they could only get the display model. So I take the thing down, I help them get it loaded up, and then what's up?
You back?
I'm here.
We're having technical difficulties. You back?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah. You turned into a spinning wheel for a second. At least on my end.
Yeah, you're running. You're running fine here. You froze up on YouTube for a minute. I think you're.
I don't recall ever having many bad experiences, just notable experiences. I remember upper management would tell me, when possible, don't really cater to the collector, cater to the grandparent who's looking to pick up something for a birthday present or a Christmas present, which actually might have been part of Toys R Us's downfall because collectors spend some money.
Sure.
I mean, like I watch some of these toy hunts, and guys are going out and buying like 3 and 4 like $25 figures at a store, and then they'll go out to 3 or 4 stores, and I'm like, man, where are these guys coming up with this money to buy this stuff?
Yeah.
Whereas a grandparent might buy a gift once or twice a year, birthday and Christmas, and I mean, but I remember kind of being like nudged to like favor getting the kid the toy as opposed to keeping it back for the collector.
Yeah.
And I didn't have many interactions with collectors, but what I did see, they were kind of pushy and like, hey, where's this thing? Do you have any of them in the back? Can you go check? Please go check. Yeah. And I mean, we were kind of told not to go and check for collectors. Don't go back and take a look. But like I said, it was 2007, and the Transformers movie had just come out. All the Transformer toys 2007 were being released, and so for each case of Transformer toys, I think that there was like a Bumblebee, and then a bunch of all these random characters that nobody cared about, and all these peg warmers that weren't selling. And so we were told that we could we could buy stuff for ourselves as long as we weren't flipping it on eBay, which I don't know how they were going to enforce that or pay attention to that. But I had seen such demand for Bumblebee that when I found one, I pulled it back and said, I'm going to go ahead and keep it for myself. And I put it in my cubby, and you could keep it in the cubby for a few weeks or something. Then you had to pay for it or put it back out on the shelf.
Mm-hmm.
And so I set it back in the cubby and thought, I'm going to buy this and hold on to it because I bet it's going to have some value. Well, now it doesn't have hardly any value. I mean, it's the same as everything else that in that toy line. But boy, there was a demand for it. There really was a lot of demand for it. And so I think I had it was earlier that day. I had a customer ask, I could tell he was a collector. Hey, do you have any Bumblebees in the back? And I said, I know that we don't because we only had one case. I just opened that case this morning and that one is not available. It's gone already. I said, everything else from that case is still here and on this on this wall. But there's only one Bumblebee. I don't know what Hasbro's thinking when they're just like, the most popular character, we're only going to put one of those in the case. And then I really don't think that collector was still in the store because it was probably a couple hours later. I had a grandparent say she was leafing through all the Transformers, and I said, "Is there anything I can help you find today?" And she was like, "There's our grandson is looking for a character called Bumble something." And I said, "Is it Bumblebee?" And she said, "Yeah, the yellow car." Yeah. We've been to 3 stores, can't find it anywhere. Do you have any in the back? I said, I actually do. And I went back to the cubby, got it, brought it out, gave it to her, and said, this is what he's looking for. I hope he enjoys it. It was for a Christmas present. She was so excited. And then another person who was in the same aisle saw me give that to her and said, "Do you have any more of those?" I mean, like that's what I'm looking for too. And I don't think that person was a collector, but now as a collector, I feel like that experience has impacted the way that I collect. And I was telling you a couple weeks ago that Micro Machines now have chase variants, like a silver chrome chase and a gold chrome chase. I have yet to see a either the rare or ultra rare in my hometown. I mean, like if I go to one of the bigger towns around me, I will see them. Actually, I'll see them pretty frequently, but I don't. To me, I'm kind of like, I don't really want a bunch of Micro Machines in my collection, but I do want a presence. And so, I mean, I kind of picked like, that's the one I want to get, all 3 variants, the regular, the chrome and the gold. And I got those. And when we get settled in, it's going to go out on display. But I've done a few toy hunt videos where I'll be kind of like, oh, this is what I'm finding. And I'll see that and I'll say, I could probably buy it and flip it for a profit on eBay. Not a big one, but something. And I'm like, but I'm not going to. I'm going to leave it there and hope that a collector who's looking to fill that piece into his collection, something that he hasn't found yet, he gets excited about having found it on the peg, doesn't have to go to eBay, pay a little extra for it. Or even better yet, somebody whose kid is looking for that is available for them to buy it. And I mean, like, so I look at it like I'm going to leave what I don't need on the pegboard or on the peg and just get the things that, I mean, and there's a few exceptions to that. I mean, like those Matchbox Premium, the Top Gun airplane. This is such a great premium Hot Wheels vehicle, and it's only like $5. And I mean, like, if I see them, I pick them up because I'm just like, these are cool, and that's my jam right there. I get really excited about seeing that. And So I haven't seen many of them. I actually I saw probably 10 or 11 of them, and I think I grabbed like 5. When I got to the cash register, I realized that one of the corners was all bent up, and I set that one back and just took 4. I think I have 6 of them sealed and 1 of them out of the package, like you saw. But now I think, man, I wish I would have got more of those because I don't see them anywhere. I mean, but
I never really interacted with any collectors at Toys R Us. I know that I saw them, assumingly I saw them because they would be the lone 30-something or 20-something staring intently at the pegs. I'm like, okay, I don't think he's buying for a child. And I never received any grief. But I know collectors are in there because my reference point is that 2002 Masters of the Universe series. Mattel had an issue with their ratio for how they package the toys. Because they're doing it now. It's still a problem. I don't know how in 20 years they haven't figured this out. But they would put in a box multiple He-Man and multiple Skeletor figures, and then one of any supporting character. So and all these ratios were online, so people knew. But if Toys R Us only got one box in, then there was only one Tila or one Man-at-Arms or whatever. So what happens then is that every week or month that the pegs fill up with more He-Men and more Skeletors, that is less that Toys R Us site is buying because the pegs are full.
Right.
And that is what killed the line. They never adjusted the ratio, and all they did was they kept putting out He-Man and Skeletor variants, but then they would only put one of each supporting character in that box. So, and fast forward to 2021, and you walk into Walmart, and there are 9 pegs of He-Man and Skeletors for this new release line that they've done.
Yeah.
How do you not learn your lesson the first time? Because now Walmart's not stocking anything new for He-Man. And then you got the opposite end of the problem with Hasbro stuff. Because the G.I. Joe pegs, I've only ever seen one of the new G.I. Joes. There was a I don't know, remember if it was Snake Eyes. The 8-inch or 6-inch or whatever the new ones are.
Right.
I've only ever seen one in real life one time, and those pegs remain empty. They have like 10 Hiss tanks sitting there.
Yeah.
But
speaking of G.I. Joe, I really hope that they do a lost the title, the Devilfish. I mean, for the 25th anniversary, they didn't do a Devilfish, and for like the 30th anniversary, they didn't do a Devilfish. It's that orange boat, single seat, with for G.I. Joe, not. And I had one of those, and now I think you have to pay like $30 or $40 for one loose. And most of the time, for $30 or $40, you can get them complete. But I mean, for me, a guy who likes to display things in the package, I mean, getting one loose doesn't really fit into my collection as well.
I don't. Well, they're not doing much better with their Transformers either. I walk in there and there's normally 1 or 2 things on the peg. I don't know if that's a production issue or if they're trying to create artificial scarcity. I don't know how there's 30 He-Man figures sitting there, and then we got nothing from Hasbro.
And I think that they had a really good thing going with that whole Gen 1 re-release. And those were scarce. I mean, like I saw I saw some Devastators at Walmart. I remember the first time I saw it, I was like, $80 is a lot. I don't know. And now if I saw it, I'd probably buy 2 of them because I'm like realizing how much they go for online now that they're not available physically in the store. But the ones that I saw, all the corners were smashed up, and I mean they were in really poor shape. I mean, obviously the figures inside would have been okay, but the packaging, which is what I wanted to display, wasn't so good. And I'd like to see. I mean, I can't believe that the last one I think that they did was they did Astro Train and what was that boom box from Autobots?
Blaster, yeah.
Blaster. And I was like, I understand Soundwave. Soundwave's awesome. Blaster, I couldn't quite wrap my head around like what why would you release that one? I really wanted to see Grimlock released.
I was going to say Dinobots.
Insecticons. Insecticons would have been awesome. I feel like there's so Trax, that blue 69 Corvette. Why hasn't that one gotten released yet? Yeah. I think that they might be releasing those Headmasters. Do you remember those with the little guy who transformed into the head that was the head of the character? But I had one, I think his name was Squeeze or Squeeze Play. He was a purple like snake guy with claws. He was a cool looking character. He didn't resemble anything realistic. He was just a monster. And they do not have that one yet. And I guess I don't look to see them make that one, but I feel like they've moved away from the standard ones that everybody was excited to get, and now that they're pushing all these like as Transformers started getting kind of out there. But
yeah, I would love to do an episode of this with you just talking about the toys we had.
Yeah. Do you have much of anything that you used to have, or do you feel like everything is?
No, I don't. I have my original Super Nintendo, and it still works pristinely. It was starting to act fickle there for a while, but I bought a bit online that allowed me to open up Nintendo products, and I just opened it up, vacuumed it out. I alcohol Q-tipped you take a credit card with and I clean the prongs on the cart connector and put it back together, and bam, good as new. So I saw my original Super, the original controllers for it, my original library, and then all the new games that I've purchased recently. But no, I slowly got rid of everything over time. And
is there anything that you anticipate rebuilding any of your collection that you had as a kid from toys from your kid, or?
No, I really enjoy Legos. That's why I think, going back to the question, if I could choose the type of store to run, it would be a Lego store in a heartbeat. Yeah. I think that would be phenomenal.
Yeah.
But I would do like a secondary store. So I would sell figures. I mean, I would be the guy that has I buy kits and then take them apart, and because some people just want the figure, I would figure all that stuff out and get into that market. And I would have I'd have events for people to come in and build-a-thons and competitions and stuff like that. But no, so I get Lego kits now and then. I really like collecting the Lego planes. So whenever I go through and see a new plane on the shelf, I will probably pick that up. And what else? I mean, I do games, as you can see. Check me out on YouTube.
So check out. Put a link to your channel here in the chat. I actually I went ahead and pulled the trigger on that Uno 50th anniversary. I looked for the best looking box. Yeah. And the best looking box didn't have a seal on it. So I mean, I bought a roll of little clear transparent seals. So I mean, I've got a whole big roll of them on a tape dispenser, And I thought, all right, I can verify everything's here, and I'll just take one of those, put it on there, and it's a pristine box. And the only difference is, and I don't know, I mean, like if I ever were to, let's say that I kept it 20 years and decided to send it off to get graded. I mean, would the guy who's grading it recognize or be aware, wait a second, this thing had a 2-inch clear circular seal, and this one's got a inch and a half. It does look smaller, but I mean, for my purpose and just collecting, I mean, most of my stuff is new in the package, and I do try and pick the best one that they have when I buy it, when I can. But it's getting put on a pegboard. I mean, like I'm not. Most of the stuff I buy, I'm not looking to grade and need it in immaculate condition with the which we should probably get going here, but that kind of brings me to our concluding topic here.
Yeah.
Let me get some of this stuff out of the way. I forgot I was gonna get your take on this. This could be heresy as far as toy collecting is concerned. But so I picked up a General Lee.
Oh, you found one?
What's that?
You found
this
one?
Is a 1/18th scale, and I picked it up for $180. And this plastic here was just smashed. And the top of this box here, you can see that there is a tear here and a tear here. But for the most part, the box is in all right condition. It's definitely not in immaculate, perfect mint condition. And honestly, now that I've gotten it, I realize that the interior is black and it's supposed to be gray or tan. So part of me is kind of like, I should have held out and spent a little more. But the next thing was like, you're going to have to spend another $80 and spend $260 to get the one with the proper color interior. But the thing is, this there were no seals anywhere on the packaging, and I had access to opening up, pulling the thing out, and I went to Hobby Lobby and bought some clear plastic, and I completely redid and folded and used double-sided tape inside, put it all back together, and it displays a lot nicer because of the new plastic. But at the end of the day, if I'm like, someday maybe I'll sell it to somebody. Let's say that I sold it to you, and then you take and sell it to your buddy, and that guy doesn't say the packaging is not original, it has been restored, not professionally even. I mean, like, I think that there's some collectors that'd be like, no, do not do stuff like this, because as it gets passed on down the line, somebody could get burnt when they think this is the original packaging in good condition, and then they find out that, I mean, the plastic was replaced.
Well, you did a nice job on it.
I was pretty happy with the way that it came out here.
If I build a collection, if I collect anything, I'm going to do it at a level that I'm happy with, and I'm not worried about passing anything on or whatever, because I want to be able to enjoy it. And you're going to be able to look at that thing and just be happy, like looking at it and see how nice and crisp that is.
Yeah,
so but who cares?
The thing with, I mean, like the name here, I mean, like, as I buy new things in, I mean, I don't have I don't store things, I display things. And although right now, obviously, I have nowhere to display it because we're still kind of between permanent locations, at some point, I'm going to have a fixed amount of space to work with. And I haven't reached a point where I'm like, that's it. That's all I need. I mean, nothing could be made from here that hasn't been made that I've seen that will be something I want in my collection. I mean, like, I think that new things are going to come out, cooler things are going to come out, and I'm just going to have to keep kind of like best stuff in, the least best stuff, or the things that are making me least excited is going to go out. And so, I mean, hence the name Secondhand Toy Dealer. I sell stuff to help fund this when I see something that I want. And the only way I could think about replacing that is if I found
a better one
with the appropriate, a better one. With the appropriate interior. And then I feel like I'd be honest. I wouldn't say, hey, this is original. I mean, I put the original plastic in the inside of it behind the insert. And so I mean, it's all there. And I'd be honest about saying, all right, there's a couple tears on the top of it. It's not mint condition. And I kind of redid the plastic. And I don't think if I wouldn't tell somebody that, I don't think that they would suspect it. I mean, and I could probably, even if I was super shady, I could take some of those little clear seals and seal up that edge there and say, oh, it's new in box. And if somebody is like, well, I'm not going to open it either, so they wouldn't be any of the wiser, and then they'd keep passing it around if they ever sold it again. So I think that there are probably some collectors that would say you did wrong by doing that, but for my purpose, I think that it's how I want to display it.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't want to beat up boxing or whatever.
Yeah.
So, but all right. Well, I think that we covered a lot here. I mean, like the live stream I watched last night was like 5 hours long, and I don't know how they do stuff like that, but so hour and 10 minutes went by quick, I think. So
sure.
Definitely have to do it again, and
yeah, let's talk the toys we had.
Yeah.
Maybe just hit one brand at a time. So because we collected pretty much the same Star Wars, G.I. Joe, Transformers. I don't know if you have much Transformers, but
yeah,
definitely, yeah. So definitely Star Wars.
I was never into the Beast Wars thing.
Yeah,
like you'd say Beast Wars, and I'd be like,
yeah, that was just a bit after.
Yeah.
After your time.
There's a dead space in a guy's life where he loves toys as a kid. He gets older, he doesn't really care about them. Gets older, remembers how awesome it was as a kid, and start when they collect them again. And then he has kids, and it's all the more fun when you've got kids that. I mean, my boys, they love. That,
I had 2 Generation 2 Transformers, but I like G.I. Joes more. So I had tubs of G.I. Joe stuff and did not do much else until Beast Wars came out. So we'll have to talk about that.
Transformers, G.I. Joes, Lego Pirates, Star Trek, Star Wars. I mean, I was kind of all over the place, but those were my main jams right there. So
yeah.
So all right.
We'll have to. How about we should do an episode where we rank the Star Trek movies in order of how we like them, and we'll compare. So it's like or we could just do our top 10 Star Trek movies, and then just go. Each of us say our 10, then our 9, and we can talk about them.
We should do the Star Trek and the Star Wars. I'm sure it'd be controversial as all get out, but I did a ranking of the actual live screen Batmans, and people did not like where I put Robert Pattinson. I mean, I know the movie hasn't come out yet, but I mean, from the trailer, I was pretty impressed.
That's like, oh, you like the way it looks?
I did, yeah. The what I saw in the trailer.
I'll give it a fair shake, but I like.
Speaking of movies, did you hear that Top Gun just got pushed back again?
They really want that theater release,
Yeah, I mean, and I think that somebody said November. I was like, seriously? I mean, I should have had this thing on DVD for 6 months already. I mean, it's insanity.
All things considered, if it goes to the theater at a time when I can go watch it in the theater, I will be there. They'll get my money.
They keep pushing it back, and I'm going to boycott it altogether.
You gotta. If they have
emotionally, it's kind of taxing on me to have to wait for this thing. I've been waiting for a while.
Oh man.
So
all
right. Well, thanks for joining me on this live, and thanks for the viewers for seeing it. Thanks for checking out my video. We'll catch you next time.